Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It is Hart TFS. For those of you that are new, welcome. My name's Hart. I make daily NBA prize pick videos as well as daily NBA slate breakdowns on DraftKings. So a lot of good content for you guys to enjoy. Leave a like. Let's try to get to 25 likes on this video. That'd be huge. Subscribe and turn on that notification bell. So do truly appreciate all you guys' support. We're past 500 subscribers, on the way to 1,000. So thank you guys once again for that. And let's get into the breakdown for today. Before I do that, I just want to get into my lineup from last night. I was thinking about it after I made my video all day. I was just like, it's a win or go home game. Luka's going to have to step up. So I ended up putting Luka in my captain spot. Wiggins, Poole, Bullock, Kleber, and Bertans. Really talked about how if you're going to put Luka, I'd really like to put Kleber with him just to pair him. Kleber did really well. And yesterday just super frustrating. I missed cash by 0.75, less than a point. Would have at least made 2 times my money, which obviously is not a ton of money because I'm putting in these single entries. But just super frustrating. We missed cash. The winning lineup was Luka, Brunson, Dinwiddie, Finney-Smith, Kleber, and Kuminga. Once again, it was just a huge blowout. The Mavs were up 20 going into halftime, and then they increased the lead to 29 going into the fourth quarter. The Warriors pulled their starters, and then the guys like Kuminga, Moody, all the backup guys on the Warriors got extra 8 minutes to run. They ended up doing really well, so it was just super frustrating. All of that value got there, and some of the main guys on the Warriors side just failed. Like Poole, he was terrible. He fouled out. Andrew Wiggins was really bad, 13-5, 1. Not normal Andrew Wiggins. So just super frustrating. When every game has pretty much been a blowout in these playoffs. Just super frustrating stuff. Really affects the props and, making good lineups. But what can you do? Hopefully today's is a better game. Barely missed cash. So we'll try to get on the winning streak, cashing streak once again today. This is the winning lineup from, or not winning lineup. This is my lineup from the last Celtics Heat game. As you can see, Tatum did really well in the bounce back spot, and then the Heat obviously got blown out, so they all did terrible. The winning lineup from the last game for the Heat and Celtics was Tatum, Brown, Horford, Robert Williams, White, and Oladipo. So as you can see, the past 2 slates, they've been blowouts, and it's been 5-1 stacks that have won it. Now, hopefully that's not the case today. Hopefully we have a great game and more of like a 3-3 or a 4-2. Either way works today. 5-1. It's gonna be super frustrating if once again today's a blowout. It shouldn't be, but we'll have to see. Going into today, we have the news that Marcus Smart and Robert Williams are both game time decisions, so that's huge news. Obviously, more so with Marcus Smart than Robert Williams. Robert Williams does have, he's a great defensive player, does put up some stats, but we're focused on Marcus Smart. If he's out, once again, White and Pritchard become great plays for the slate. White, for some reason, is cheaper than Pritchard. Don't really understand that, especially with how White was a starter, played 41 minutes, and did pretty well. Pretty close to triple-double, 39 fantasy points. And then Pritchard, that's Oladipo. Pritchard, only played 25 minutes. Better shooter, but 14 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block of steal, got blowout run, 26 fantasy points. Not really sure the pricing why they did that, but they would both firmly be in play. I'd still prefer Pritchard over White. White is one of those guys that's either, he shot terribly. He really got there because he got fouled a few times when the Celtics were in bonus, so he got like 4 or 5 points from that. He got 3 steals, which is not normally him. He could get 1 a game, but 3. He kind of got a ceiling for like the steals, the blocks, the assists, even rebounds. He was doing it all. It was just super frustrating because I took him out of my main lineup at the last second, put in Pritchard, even though Pritchard still performed. But yeah, Derek White's kind of that boomer bust guy. Even with the minutes, he can go out there and get you 12 fantasy points. So I still prefer Pritchard because better shooter, can still get you some of those peripheral stats. And if he's hitting his shots, he's going to get an extended run. Even if there is a blowout, he's still going to play. So I think that's why I still prefer Pritchard. But for today, Jimmy Butler's at the top, 11-2. Really expected bounce back game from Jimmy. Obviously, the game blew out, so we didn't see full run from Jimmy, but he shot it 14 times. Looks like normal Jimmy, I would say. Maybe he's still a little like shaken up, I guess you could say, but really like Jimmy for a bounce back today. I'm really going to need him to step up, so really like Jimmy today. Same thing with Tatum. Now that Tatum and Brown are pretty much almost the same price, I still really prefer Tatum. The offense flows through him, and for the same price, almost, only $800 difference. Still think you get to go Tatum over Brown. If Brown was, $1,500, maybe $2,000 cheaper, I'd say, I'd prefer Brown over Tatum. But when they're this close in price, you definitely have to go Tatum. You just get the higher floor, higher ceiling compared to Brown. So Brown's not out of play, but do prefer Tatum. Bam, super high owned last game. I don't know why. Robert Williams is a great defender. Obviously, Bam can still have a good game against Robert Williams, but he's a way better matchup going against Al Horford. So that's huge news we have to watch. If Robert Williams is out, I'd really like Bam at 8,800. I do think they would try to force feed him against Al Horford. Al Horford's, a decent defender, but way better matchup for Bam if he's going against Al Horford rather than Robert Williams. So that's definitely news we have to keep an eye out on. Marcus Smart, as I said, if he's out, Pritchard and White both firmly become in play. If Marcus Smart plays, hopefully he does, I think he's my favorite captain play of the day. He's a guy who can do a little bit of everything. I'd prefer him as probably my captain for today if he plays. So definitely keep an eye on that. Horford, as I mentioned, pretty much every game this series and every game in the playoffs, he's a guy that can do it all. Only shot the ball twice last game. 5 points, but you still got 34 fantasy points because he had 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 blocks. He's a guy who's going to get you a ton of peripheral stats. Rebounds are there, assists are there, the blocks and steals are there. So all you really need is Al Horford to get involved offensively. Now that usually means one of these stars on the Celtics side is not scoring well. And so if you play one of those stars, it kind of hurts you. But Al Horford's a guy that can pretty much do it all. So I don't mind him at 7,800. It's just he's a little scoring dependent at times and kind of can get limited with that. Kyle Lowry, 6,800. Going to be, super low owned once again today. Minutes weren't there because of the blowout. Only played 21, only shot 6 times. I don't mind him as a mid-range play for today. People would rather get to Al Horford. They're going to rather play Strus, Robert Williams if he plays, or like maybe Hero if he plays, even Oladipo. Kyle Lowry's going to be super low owned today. He's a guy that does have some upside into the 30s, even 40s if he's hitting the shots and getting assists, rebounds. So I don't mind him at 6,800. Definitely a contrarian play for today. Strus played terrible. 15 minutes, 0-7. He's scoring dependent. Now, I know people box score watch and saw these games against Philly, the last two, 19, 10-1, 20, 11-5. That's not normal Max Strus. Max Strus is maybe, 3-4 rebounds and maybe like 12 to 15 points. So I don't really know if I'm going to get there today at 6'6". He's an okay play. He does have a little bit of upside if he's hitting shots or if he's getting those peripheral stats. But as you can see, the past 4 games, that's kind of normal Max Strus. Don't think I'd get there. Robert Williams, as I said, if he's in, I do have some interest in him. I played him last game. 12 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks in 19 minutes. He can really stuff the stat sheet. It's just 19 minutes. Obviously, there's a blowout, so maybe he gets closer to his normal range of like 22 to 25. If he plays, he'll probably get around those minutes. I'd say he's a decent play for today, 6,400. If he's out, obviously would like Grant Williams a lot more than he is right now at 5,200. So just a lot of news we keep an eye on the Celtics side and the Heat side. So really hard to kind of make your final decisions right now with just all these news, how it affects pretty much every play on the slate. But yeah, if Robert Williams is out, it gives Horford a little bit more of a bump. It gives Grant Williams a huge bump, and it gives Bam on the other side a really big bump as well. If Hero's in, really like Hero, he'll probably go a little bit under-owned. Hasn't been doing well these playoffs at all. There is that risk that he re-injures his groin during the game, so slightly risky, but 6,200 for Tyler Hero. I'd probably expect to see his normal amount of minutes, but maybe his limits will be minuted. Maybe his minutes will be restricted or limited, so we'll have to see. If he's out, Victor Oladipo once again becomes a good play. Now the game did blow out, so he played some blowout run. He was the only one that could pretty much shoot or score on the Heat side, so they're kind of just force feeding the ball. Wouldn't expect that, especially if the Heat are at full strength. So, I'd say he'd be a pretty good play, but I don't know if you can expect close to 40 fantasy points, 23 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds. But he's a guy that can stuff the stat sheet. So I don't mind him at 5,600. Just have to wait on the news to see if he's playable. Once again, Pritchard, wait on that Marcus Smart news. Grant Williams, got to wait on, you can play him. Even with Robert Williams playing, he still played 37 minutes. He just hasn't shot the ball well this series at all. But if he gets hot from three, we know he has a pretty good, decent upside into the mid-30s, close to 40 fantasy points, depending on how much he shoots, because he will get you some peripheral stats. So if Robert Williams is out, do really prefer Grant Williams, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. Once again, Derek White, had to keep an eye on the Marcus Smart news. He's a guy that will get you 20 to 25, even if Marcus Smart plays. At 5K, I guess you could go there, but I just would rather get to other guys in that spot if Marcus Smart plays. PJ Tucker will be a pretty popular value play for today. Only 20 minutes, obviously, blowout. But the only competitive game this series, he did really well. 17, 7-1, 3 steals, 36 fantasy points. Other than that, his minutes have been limited or down just because of the blowout. So if there's a close game, I do expect him to do pretty decent, 4,600. Gabe Vincent, not really in play unless all those guards are out. Once again, did get a few minutes of blowout run. Just more of kind of like a dart throw for today. Robinson did get some run because of the blowout. Don't think he had to go there. Martin mostly got blowout run. Maybe he gets 10 to 18 minutes of normal run. Don't expect him to come in and score the ball as well as he did last game. So 1,800, definitely worth a dart throw, but I just don't think you need to force it. I mean, if you guys want to do like a blowout lineup, you definitely can, but hopefully this game is close today. These playoffs have been whack. Denman, going to play 11 to 15 minutes, not really worth it. And that's pretty much it, guys. Obviously, it's the same games, same series, so not a lot changes in these, but pretty much every other game has been a blowout, so it's super frustrating. As of right now, let's just say everyone's in. I would prefer getting to Marcus Smart as my captain. Really think you need Tatum and Butler. Oops, they're not putting in the captain spot. The only thing I like about today is the pricing is pretty good on these Boston and Miami sides. There's a lot of guys to get to, a lot of guys that can score and get you fantasy points compared to like the Mavs side or even the Warriors side. So really like the pricing. It's a lot easier to build better lineups on these Boston versus Miami games than it is the Warriors versus the Mavs game. So that's something that's random, but what I really like. But back to Marcus Smart captain, really like Butler and Tatum. Probably going to be a super popular start to build for a lot of people, but that's what I really like as of right now. Saying that everyone's in, we're just going to go with that as of right now. Obviously, we have to wait on the news, but let's just say everyone's in. Really like Marcus Smart as my captain. Same like Jimmy, like Tatum. Leaves you 5,300 left over, so it's a decent amount to play with. I mean, you could throw a guy like PJ Tucker in there, gives you 5,700. I mean, you could get risky, throw a guy like White in there. He's going to play 20 to 25 minutes, even if Marcus Smart's in. So that leaves you 6,400 left over. You could throw Robert Williams or Tyler Hero or Oladipo. You have a lot of options with that. Let's say, let's try to force someone in there. Let's say Kyle Lowry, get a little risky, 4,600 left over. You can get to, Vincent, Tucker, Robinson, Martin if you want to get risky, and then jam in an even more expensive guy like Strus. A bunch of different ways you can go, but as of right now, this is my core: Smart, Butler, Tatum. Obviously, we have to wait on the news, so keep your eye on that. Follow me on Twitter, HeartDFS. I'll be putting up my core plays. I'll be keeping you guys updated on the news of who's in, who's out, and kind of the direction I go with my lineup. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Please leave a like. Let's try to get to 25, and please subscribe. Do appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.